Hi, I'm Laura Jeffridge Greenberg, head of the Wordsmith Academy. Today we're going to look at how you can create a low value contract analyzer in a workspace within Wordsmith. Now, this really could be any sort of contract triage. We're just taking the use case of low value contracts, and you can also use the methods here in other tools besides Wordsmith, but we're going to work in Wordsmith because, well, we think it's far superior than the other tools. And so I'm going to show you how to build that. So have you ever had one of those agreements land in your inbox, like a little tiny contract, maybe office supplies, travel arrangements, or for cleaning services, and you thought, does legal really need to take a look at this? Most legal teams really spend a shocking amount of time on low value work. And some of these contracts don't require a lawyer, but because occasionally some of these low value contracts might have big legal risks in them, teams are reviewing them. So today we're going to tackle that pain point and problem and show you how to build a low value contract analyzer. It's one of the easiest workspaces to create, and it's one that definitely you will get a lot of rewards from it. So I get this agreement here. Can you take a look at this cleaning agreement? And of course I'm like, ugh, I don't want to. But what I'm gonna do is either I can download this or I can come over here, and since I have my low value contract analyzer workspace, I'm actually just gonna copy that email in and I'm gonna forward this into the workspace. And I'm gonna send that, and then while this is going, I'm gonna go over and show you how we build this workspace. So for AI assistance, and we call ours a workspace, there are two core components. That is the custom instructions, which you can see here, and then the knowledge. I have one document uploaded, but you can also directly connect in other sources. So when you go into building a workspace, you really need to know the why. And here, our why is to review incoming contracts and decide whether or not they need legal review. And then you need to decide the user. Is it the legal team that is using this, or are we giving this to the business to use? So here we're actually going to decide, we're going to start with legal reviewing these contracts to see how our workspace does. And then after that, we are going to release it to the wider business. So what do I need? I need my instructions. I need any playbooks or documents. And then I need to have a clear understanding of the purpose and the user. So let's go ahead and show you how I built this workspace. So first we're going to go to the documents where we have uploaded a low risk contract review guideline. So you can create that in any format, it doesn't matter. What is more important is the custom instructions. And so there's a lot here, but I also will provide a nice clean version that you can copy and paste. Now it looks like this is terrible for us to look at, but it doesn't matter because the AI can read this. So now first you'll notice there are certain things in caps. That is where we really want to emphasize and show to the AI that the things in caps are actually more important than the things in not caps. Secondly, you also see lots of repetition. Repetition also functions like the caps to reinforce the point in the learning for the AI. So because we're going to have this eventually be released to the business, we want to start with a reply. So when a document is uploaded to the workspace, we want the reply of, hello, thank you for uploading your document for review. I will review your document and identify key details. Then I will confirm whether the agreement is low risk and whether legal input is needed. So that's the first step. And you noticed here, we don't have, step 1, step 2 laid out, but you could also do that. But you'll see we have 1 and 2 later. We just need to break it up so that the AI understands the differences between the steps. So now here it says, I want you to provide 2 responses when a document is dropped into this workspace. 1, I want you to do a brief review of the document and identify the key details in your first response. And then here are some of the things that I want you to include, like contract type, party, services, fees, term. And then second, I want you to follow the instructions below, determine whether the agreement is low risk or not. So these are the first, I want you to do a summary. Second, I want you to determine if the agreement is low risk or not. And now I need to tell the AI how it's going to determine whether it's low risk or not. So I would like you to answer in a very straightforward manner, pass, fail, yes or no style of response. So we're clarifying this. Sometimes AI, when it does work on legal issues, it tends to make it very lengthy and verbose. We don't want this. We want this as easy to read for the business as possible. So now we're giving it a role. You're acting as the first pass gatekeeper here, and you must decide solely based upon the criteria of this document, and that's what we've uploaded, our playbook, whether or not the contract constitutes a low risk or not. Please provide concise reasoning as to why the contract is low risk or why it is not a low risk. And here we didn't say the contract is low risk or not, but we want to be 100% clear and stating the obvious so then the AI is following along and doesn't have the ability to get confused. So that's why we very explicitly say, explain why the contract is low risk or why it is not a low risk. If the contract is a low risk and all the criteria and requirements contained within the document are met, then please respond with the following: pass, insert a green circle emoji. You can go ahead and organize for the agreement to be signed. It does not require legal review. If there are any factors, irrespective of how minor we feel they might be, which present a risk, thus prevent the contract from being a low risk, then please respond with the following: legal input required. So we're giving it two choices, right? This is all very clear. Step 1, step 2, is it low risk? Is it not? These are the two different responses that I want you to respond with. So if it is considered not low risk, your agreement requires review from legal. We will update you in this thread if more information is required, and when the review is complete, we expect the review to be completed within your SLA number of weeks. Now, this is also made to be connected into a Slack channel. So people are dumping agreements into a Slack channel. It then is sent to the workspace here and then answering in a thread in the Slack channel. But we're not going to do that today because we're just trying to keep this extremely simple and just on this use case. So for the contract to be considered low risk, it must fall into one of these types of contract categories. And then we list out the different types. Ensure, and then we say we really want it to make sure it's checking this. So we say ensure you check the document in detail to confirm the contract type. If none of the contract types referenced above are present, this agreement must not pass. You will be penalized for failing to review in detail. Now, when we use this, you will be penalized for failing to review in detail. We are telling it, one, in all caps, this is really important. But then when we use penalties to penalize it, deduct points, remove cookies, anything like that, where you're sort of punishing it, it knows that that is the most important thing, that it needs to review these in detail. And if it doesn't, it will be penalized. So it's going to rank that higher above some of the other instructions. So that's really critical when you have these lengthy step-by-step instructions. And then step 2, right? If we go back here, here's step 1. Here's step 2. For each of the factors cited in the checklist below must be met in order for this agreement to qualify as a low risk. So now we're telling it what is required for a low risk contract and being very specific. This is lengthy. And then also, right, we have the guidance document that it can refer to. And then we say, lastly, ensure you review each of the minimum contract requirements in detail before deciding whether it's a pass-fail. If any of the criteria in the list above is not met, then this should not pass. You will be penalized for failing to do so. Again, we're reiterating, putting it in caps and telling it that it can be penalized to really tell it what's important. And then both of these steps must be completed and passed for the agreement to be deemed a low risk and to pass. We're reiterating, we're telling it what we need it to do, and also sometimes stating things that may be obvious to you or I, because if we don't state the obvious, the AI will make assumptions and get off track. So those are the custom instructions. And then what we have here is we then have the business who's going to come, and let's say we have a low risk cleaning services agreement for demo purposes, so we know what's going on here to see if it'll pick up anything, right? So now we're testing it. Over here you can see this is the document that we've uploaded. We always have one of those, but I'm going to close that. And then I'm just going to say review and tell me if I can sign. And it's going to go ahead and review and tell me if I can sign this agreement. Now, because this is the first time I've created this, I'm going to check it and iterate it. So I have a low risk contract and a high risk contract, and I'm going to use those to test and see if my instructions were good enough. If the answer doesn't come back in a way that I like or aligns with my company, then I need to go back in, look at my instructions and see what went wrong. Now, the cool thing is I can go into AI, I can open another chat and say, these are my custom instructions in the workspace. This is the agreement I uploaded. I got a response that I didn't like. How should I change my custom instructions to get a response that I would have expected? So here we can see at the conclusion that legal input is required. Now, this is supposed to be a low value, low risk contract. And so here we go. We've got the key details that we've asked it to do, right? That's the first step. And then here's the risk assessment. Contract type, it passed. Great. And then I can go over here in citations and double check that the AI got that correct. And this is also one of the reasons I really like using Wordsmith, because I can quickly verify the information here. Now it has failed that it doesn't have a contract term and it doesn't have contract parties. The services description pass, the fees and payment terms is a fail because it's a placeholder. So even though this is low risk, it's failed because it doesn't have any details in it. We can't sign it because there's there's essential information that's not here. So that's great, and that's probably how we want it to work. And then, let's go over and try another. Here's a non-compliant one, and then I'm just going to say review, right? Because it has the instructions. So I'm a business person, and I'm coming over here, either submitting it here, submitting it through email, or through Slack. And again, here's the agreement. We can see it, but I'm just going to close that while it's going to work. Again, it's going to give me the summary. We're testing it with placeholder ones. So here it's telling us contract assessment type. It is none of these. So it automatically fails. It's not going to go any further because it is a software development agreement, and you need to go to legal for that. And then it's put in, we can expect to review the review to be complete within 2 to 3 weeks. And now in the custom instructions, there's an X there, but what it is doing when it is answering this, and if I go to view workspace, it's actually pulling that information from this low risk document. So you can put in placeholders like X, and then it'll go over here and it'll read the low risk document policies and pull that out, because there's different timelines depending on the contract. So that's a quick and easy way that you can create a workspace. Thanks so much for joining, and let us know if you have any questions.